Greetings to you and welcome to this episode of Grace Podcast. I'm Timothy Muse. I'll be your host as we spend this time together today. It's a joy to be with you. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for being part of this. I want to thank you for being part of this journey, for having the courage to walk this journey, for taking the initiative to look into your life and see where there may be places of energy that need some assessment or some increase. Wanting to live our best life means that we have the courage to look into the places where we may not be 100% or even 80%. This doesn't mean that your life is bad in any way, shape, or form. It just means that it's a well-lived life. We have times when we put energy into one thing and we let energy go in another. And so you're here because you want to continue to grow and learn. So thank you for that. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for continuing to invest in this process, in you, and allowing me to come alongside you. I'm so blessed and honored to be able to do that. If this podcast is helpful, please share it out there. Put it out there on your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you follow me or the podcasting on any one of those feeds or the life coaching on any one of those feeds, you're going to see these episodes. And if you're on one of the listening platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music, then follow us, give us a rating and review. Every positive rating and review tells the platforms that people are listening, and you'll get notifications when a new episode comes out. And if you want to reach out to me directly, GraceLifeCoaching.com is the website. I'd love to hear from you. GraceLifeCoaching.com. If I can come alongside you in any way, do some coaching, have some conversation, whatever it is, I really would love to hear from you. GraceLifeCoaching.com. Today I want to talk about framework. I want to talk about a framework that has the potential to change the way you make decisions, respond to challenges, and evaluate your life. That framework is called the 7 P's of life. Maybe you've heard this before. Life often feels complicated. We have endless decisions to make, responsibilities to juggle, expectations to meet, and distractions competing for our attention. We can spend years feeling busy without feeling fulfilled. Sometimes what we need isn't more information. Sometimes we simply need a better framework. The 7 P's can provide that for you. They aren't magic words. They're not shortcuts to success. They're reminders of what creates a meaningful life over the long haul. So today we're going to explore the 7 P's: purpose, priorities, principles, people, perspectives, perseverance, and peace. And as we go through them, I invite you not to think about someone else, to think about yourself. Which of these areas feel healthy? And which ones need attention? Again, and not to do it in a shame-filled or judgmental sort of way. There's no judgment or shame here. Self-awareness is so important. We grow when we have self-awareness, when we're aware of ourselves, when we're aware of what's going on positively and negatively, when we're aware of where we're strong and where we're deficient, we can continue to expand and grow. So I would invite you to just dwell with each of these 7 P's. Which one is going well? And which one needs your attention? The first P is purpose. Purpose answers one question: why? Why do you get out of bed each morning? Why do you work? Why do you keep going? Purpose doesn't have to be grand. You don't have to save the world. Purpose can simply mean knowing who you are becoming. People without purpose often drift. They become reactive instead of intentional. Purpose gives ordinary days extraordinary meaning. Imagine 2 people doing the exact same job. One sees it as simply collecting a paycheck. The other sees it as serving families, improving lives, creating opportunities, building things, whatever it is the job happens to be. Same work, but different purpose. Purpose transforms routine into significance. So here's a question for you. Here's a question. I'd like you to finish this sentence. I want my life to be known for ... Don't overthink it. Just, what do you want your life to be known for? Well, that's your purpose. That's why you get up in the morning. That's your drive in life. Without purpose, we drift. We may be functional and active, but we may drift. Just answer that question honestly. Your answer becomes your compass. It becomes your guide into how you live and the decisions you make and the actions you take. What is your purpose? The second P is priorities. Purpose tells us where we're going. Priorities determine whether we'll actually get there, right? Everyone says family comes first. Everyone says health matters. Everyone says relationships are important. But if someone looked at your calendar, would they reach the same conclusion? Our schedules reveal our priorities better than our words. Many of us spend our days responding to urgency rather than importance. Emails and notifications and interruptions and requests. None of those are necessarily bad, but if everything becomes important, nothing truly is. So what are your priorities? Ask yourself, what deserves my best energy? What deserves my best energy? Notice I didn't ask what demands my attention, because everything's going to demand your attention. Attention is everywhere. What deserves my best energy? Or maybe who deserves my best energy? One of the struggles I see in families and relationships is we give our best energy to our work, our career, our success, and those closest to us, those that love us, they get the last of our energy. They get the rest of it, whatever's left. They get the less than, they get the snappy, they get the uncomfortable and the unhappy. Who deserves my best energy? Does your job deserve your best energy, or does your spouse? Does your coworkers deserve your best energy, or your kids? Does somebody else deserve your best energy, or do you? And that's all wrapped up in priorities. That's all wrapped up in priorities. Successful people learn to protect what matters most. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is say no. That's not part of my priorities. That action is not part of my priorities. I was reflecting on this just recently. One of my main priorities is good sleep and being healthy. I don't want to be exhausted. I don't want to walk through the day propping my eyes open with toothpicks. There was a time when I would go out and I'd spend, the night out. I'd be at the bars or the clubs or whatever, come home at 2:00 in the morning, get a couple hours sleep and push through the day. My priorities are different now. My priorities are healthy, good sleep, because good sleep means a good me. All right. Priorities shift. So what's your priority? And saying no, even though it's fun to go clubbing or whatever, saying no is really important. Sometimes that's the most productive thing you can do, is say no, because whatever's being asked of you isn't part of your priorities. Number 3 is principles. Principles are the values that guide your decisions. They are the things that you refuse to compromise. Honesty, kindness, integrity, humility, respect, compassion. Those are principles. Life becomes much simpler when your decisions are rooted in principles instead of emotions. Okay? We are all emotional beings, and we can drive our emotions. Our emotions can drive us. We can make emotional decisions. But here's the thing. Emotions change. Feelings change. Moments change. Principles remain. Like honesty. I don't feel like being honest right now, because honesty is going to be painful. But my principle is to be honest. So I'm going to be honest, even if I don't feel like it. I don't feel like being kind. There are days where I don't feel like being kind. There are days when I am tired, when I didn't sleep enough, when I haven't eaten enough, when I'm getting pulled in all kinds of directions, and I don't feel like being kind. I feel like lashing out. But my principle is to be kind, even in high intensity situations. Do I always hold on to that? No. But I know when I don't, that I've betrayed my principles. Life becomes simpler when your decisions are rooted in principles instead of emotions. Feelings change, principles remain. When you're unsure what to do, ask yourself, what decision aligns with the person I want to become? That's your principles. That's usually the right answer, right? Character isn't built during easy moments. It's revealed during difficult ones. And character is built on principle. And we learn our principle in the difficult moments. So when we make decisions based on principles, life becomes much simpler, because that's just not part of my principle. Lying isn't part of my principle. Compassion is what I desire to do. It's part of my principle. So principles are important. They're the values that guide your decisions. The next one is people. No one succeeds alone. The people around us shape us more than we realize. Think about the conversations you have every day. Do they encourage growth or reinforce negativity? Healthy relationships don't require perfection. They require honesty and mutual respect and constant investment. The people in our lives are so vastly important. And when we gather people around us that encourage us, that's really, really important for us. Here's something many people overlook. Relationships aren't maintained by intention. They're maintained by attention. not intention. I intend to have a good relationship, but my attention. I work on that relationship. Small conversations, checking in, listening, being present. Those simple actions build strong relationships over time. And remember, sometimes personal growth requires changing your environment. Sometimes personal growth requires changing your circle. Not because people are bad, but because some relationships encourage your best self and others don't. So choose wisely. Choose wisely the people in your lives. Number 5 is perspective. Perspective changes everything. The same event can feel like disaster or opportunity. Perspective doesn't ignore reality. It doesn't say this isn't happening. It simply asks, what else can be true? I give this example a lot. I text someone and I don't hear back from them. All right. Now, I could think 1,000 different things. They don't like me anymore. They're angry. I hurt them. Or, they're busy. Maybe their phone's dead. Maybe they're on vacation. Perspective changes everything. What else could be true? What else could be true in this moment? I have an interaction with someone and they're sharp with me. Well, they must be mad at me. Or maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're not feeling good. Maybe they got bad news. When we experience road rage is usually something like that. Someone cuts somebody off on the road and most likely it has nothing to do with them. But perspective says it does. So what else could be true? Maybe this setback you're experiencing is teaching resilience. Maybe this delay is protecting you. Maybe this disappointment is redirecting you. One of the healthiest habits you can develop is learning to pause before reacting. That's perspective. Ask yourself, in a moment, will this matter in a year? Many things that consume our emotions today won't even be remembered next year. Perspective creates emotional freedom. The next one is perseverance. Every meaningful life includes struggle. Every successful person has failed, usually more than once. Perseverance isn't refusing to change. It's refusing to quit. Progress rarely happens in drastic moments. It happens quietly. One decision, one habit, one conversation, one workout, one chapter, one prayer, one day at a time. Don't underestimate the power of consistency. Small improvements repeated daily become remarkable over time. Success isn't usually explosive. It's culminative. Keep showing up. It accumulates over time. Keep showing up. Keep persisting. The last one is peace. Many people spend their entire lives chasing happiness, but they never find peace. Peace is different. Happiness depends on circumstances. Peace comes from alignment. When your purpose, your priorities, your principles, your relationships, your perspective, and your perseverance begin working together, peace naturally flows. Peace doesn't mean life becomes easy. By all means, it does not. It means you stop fighting yourself. You become comfortable with who you're becoming. That's one of the greatest gifts you can offer for yourself, is comfort in your own skin. Comfort in your own place. And that comes from aligning all of these P's. By aligning them together, you create peace. You find peace. And really, quite frankly, that's one of the biggest things that we search for in life is peace. I want you to ask yourself 7 questions this week. What's my purpose? Are my priorities aligned with my purpose? What principles guide my decisions? Are my relationships helping me grow? How can I change my perspective on one challenge? Where do I need greater perseverance? What would bring me greater peace today? You don't need to master all 7 at once. Choose one. Focus on it for the next couple of days. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens one intentional decision at a time. So spend a little bit of time on each one of those intentional decisions. Spend a little bit of time on each one of those P's to see where you're at and what you're facing and where you need to put that attention. Purpose, priorities, principles, people, perspective, perseverance, and peace. That's a framework that can build a simpler but far more meaningful life. That's what I got for you for today, my friends. I hope it's helpful. If it is, please share it out there. Put it out there in your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you follow me or the life coaching on any one of those feeds, you're going to hear us. If you want to, if you're on one of the listening platforms, follow us, give us a rating and review. And if you want to reach out to me directly, gracelifecoaching.com is the website. I truly would love to hear from you. At Grace Life Coaching, we want you to be the best you.